I will talk today a little bit about something I call elemental alchemy. There's also a format of this that is a workshop, and today it will be more like a talk, so maybe the intro, the teaser of this work that I'm doing. And it also has a lot to do with what I'm doing when I'm going with people on retreats. So what Johanna kind of mentioned, what I'm doing. I like to say I work on a spectrum, if you want. I'm coming originally from business. I studied business and management. And yeah, those projects that happened there, they turned more into everything that has to do with the human component, like with the people, with the systems, with the people in those systems. And then on the other side of the spectrum, I'm a systemic nature therapist. And I'm somewhere in Egypt, in the desert, or in Greece, on wild beaches, or in the forest here, close to Berlin. And then in between, there's also a field where I'm working with teams, and I do team building offsites. And I just see what it needs in the different contexts. But this is basically the field I'm playing in from to, exactly. The 4 elements. The 4 elements are very interesting because they are I don't like to say tool, but they are something, a construct, a theory that can help us to understand ourselves better. And that's why I call this workshop in the beginning that it can be our inner compass. So it's super interesting to understand how those 4 elements are mirrored maybe within us. And also everything we're looking at. So us, as also we are nature, and our personality, it's comprised out of the 4 elements, if you say those 4 elements have specific qualities. And the same are animals out there. Landscapes are basically made out of the 4 elements. It's very interesting, like once you start to get into that thinking, you understand what I mean and how this goes together. And that's what we want to have a look at a little bit today, at least in 20 minutes. And there's one guy, he's Greek. His name is Empedocles. I don't know how to pronounce it right. Empedocles. So that's the right way. And he lived like 2,500 years ago. And he was the first one, at least known, that he wrote down the 4 elements theory. And he says that all matter, everything in the world is comprised out of the 4 elements. Okay? So everything that exists has the roots in those 4 elements. And then there are 2 forces. There's the force of love that bring things together, that attract things. And then there's the force of strife, which like creates for things to go apart. Okay? And those 2 forces basically, they create everything that exists. They create the circles, they create the rhythms, they create that things die and come to life again. So that's the theory. And then the thing is that there are many, many more theories about the 4 elements, and I love theories as some part of me. And then I started to like get into all those theories, and I wanted to create a big model, bringing it all together, and then I was like, okay, no, that doesn't work. And then that's the second part of it, my learning to also say like, okay, let go of all that knowledge. It's not always about all this knowledge and all those theories and to have everything right and to have this one model, but it's about what do you create out of it? What does it mean for you? What do you make out of it? So in all my sessions, when I talk about the 4 elements also, there's not one way and I'm telling you, water, this is this, this and that, and fire is this, this and that, and you are like this, this and that. No, it's really about finding your own understanding about those things and feeling into it and trusting that you have an inner knowledge, an inner understanding, an intuition of what those things mean and how they can come together. Yeah. And before I talk a bit more, I want to just give you a little teaser of how it looks like when you are out there with me, maybe. And maybe you can watch this little short film with an attention to the 4 elements and what they might bring, what they might add to this process that I'm taking people with in this in this way of working. And by the way, in 1 month, this will happen again. So if anyone is interested in joining, there's still a chance for that.
The ember gets stronger. Flame starts to flicker a bit. And pretty soon you realize that all we're going to do for eternity is sit around the fire.
You can just continue. And it continues autoplay. Okay. Yes. Well, so you got a little bit of an idea of what is happening out there when going with people to different landscapes. And as I said before, the landscapes are comprised out of the 4 elements, and different landscapes, they have like more of a dominant of different elements, and that has a different effect on people, just like that in general. And the interesting thing is, compared to me talking to you now here, which is maybe on the level of the mind, if we see a person or us humans as 3 levels. So here we're talking to the mind. We have there a rich complexity of thoughts and feelings, but when we are out there also our body is with us, obviously, and we can sense with our body those 4 elements. So we can get in a connection, we can really touch the things, I can see how people are interacting with those 4 elements. And then we have our soul, whatever that is something that acts through us, around us, is interwoven with our ancestors, with intuition, higher principles, higher forces, and all of those elements are in the process of when we work with the 4 elements. So for example, sitting at the fire, like some thoughts can come to us, like some reconnection to something ancestral, to something ancient that we cannot even grasp it maybe, or it's something that comes to us just much later that we will understand it. But all of those things are happening in this space. And it's not that easy just to go outside and like, okay, now let's all of us go, and we quickly go out there, and then okay, let's experience now air, and so it needs a specific awareness. Okay, I need to bring my awareness. Like first of all, we are all the time talking with each other, especially when I go with groups. It's something that I tell them in the beginning, like, be aware, like what are you talking all the time? Also, in like, where are you with your talks? Usually we're like, oh yeah, and this holiday last time, like 2 weeks ago, I was there, like small talk. And sometimes people get offended when I say that in the beginning. Like I'm very sensitive. Now I learned that some people, it really, like I step on their toes by saying like, what do you mean? We're like not supposed to do like, I'm not telling you what not to do. It's just bring your awareness there. Like, what are you talking about, yeah? With other people, but also with yourself, and that's our thoughts, right? Like, what are we thinking? What are we saying to ourselves? Yes, and when we have an awareness of what's going on in those 2 fields, then this 3rd field can open up, where we can have actually a dialogue and some reciprocity with the space around us. Only then. So that's why it's not that easy. And yeah, I'm going to nature and I'm just meeting with a friend and we're talking. It's a bit different if I'm really going by myself with an intention to just be, experience, see what happens, something else. Yeah. So it's about awareness. Reciprocity, I just mentioned it a little bit. So when I'm out there, it's a 2-way thing that happens. Sometimes when I go with the group outside, it can happen that somebody's like, yeah, but we are going now to nature and we are like interfering and we are like taking the place from the animals. And no, it's not like that. Like it's an interesting, like just look at it with a big interest of what's happening there. Like this field, the trees, the whatever, they find interesting also that we are there. It's not like we are invading something that's not ours. It does something. Like don't think in those boxes. And yeah, just like when you go with this, just the possibility of this being possible, that there's this 2-way awareness, then other things and other thoughts come to life. Yes, and then let's talk a bit about the 4 elements. Fire. And now I would love to hear actually from you. Everyone has some things that come up when we speak about each one of the elements. And I would love if we just engage in kind of a conversation, just like, what comes up when you hear fire, when you think of fire, what kind of fires are there, okay? So just if a thought comes up, just speak up, maybe raise your hand or just speak, curious to hear. Energy. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Spark.
Mm-hmm.
Community. Warmth.
Mm-hmm. Stars. Mm-hmm.
Destruction.
Mm-hmm.
Creation.
Mm-hmm.
Cleansing.
Mm-hmm.
Amber.
Ember. Mm-hmm.
Transformation.
Mm-hmm. Wow, you got all the keywords. You're getting 10 out of 10 points. No, it's really like, also like you already opened up this field, which is beautiful because, yeah, they're like if you look at this and exactly the stars are there as well and you sit there in community, you get this warmth. At the same time, fire is very destructive, as somebody said as well. It's a force that transforms, and there we are also coming to the alchemical process in a way. Actually, each one of the elements does that. They have a transformational force. But in that sense, like the wood gets burned, and then what is left gives it gives back to life again. Like it's feeding for something to grow again. So it's always this transformation. But it can be from warmth. Oh, I'm sitting on a warm fire. It's cozy. I'm sitting with friends. Up to like, wow. If you imagine a fire or like forest fires, it's destructive. You cannot control it. And you also mentioned passion and the spark, and there we're getting this connection to the personal, right? It's very interesting for the 4 elements to think of our language and what we say. Now in English, for example, like I'm burning for this, right? Or this like passion, or this emoji with the heart and the fire on the sides. Like I love it. It's expressing exactly that. Yeah. So how is this fire inside of me? Is it like this little ember that's there, and I don't know, it needs some, like also that's the experience you have out there. You're trying to make a fire, okay? It's not that easy. In the desert, sometimes if you have the wood, it can be very easy, but try to do it in the forest when you have wet wood. Like you really need does it need now more air? Does it need, more like to be more dense? Does it need to be less dense? Like it's all the things together, and that's how life is also, right? Does it need a little bit of wind? Does it need a little bit of, more other ingredients, more earth in that sense? So that's an interesting way. And let's speak about earth. What comes to mind when you think of earth? Mother. Mm-hmm.
Grounding.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Dirt.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Evolution.
Mm-hmm. You want to say a bit more to that? Or just...
I mean, when we see also in this picture, it evolves in different forms. It leaves, it's alive, it dies, it follows the process.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So with earth, it's interesting also because there are those 2 very different kind of earth. There's the mineral earth, the sand, the rocks, the stone. And then there's the organic earth, like that we know in our forest, especially now, like everything green, like a little bit like the ground, like the wet mud. So those are 2 very different kind of earth. And you can also ask yourself, like, which one of the 2 earths is like the one that I would, like if I need to choose one of the 2, which one would it be, okay? So for me, for example, I love the desert. I mean, I do the retreats in the desert. Yeah, it's like, put me there. It can be super hot. It can be super like dry. Like I'll survive. That's fine. Yeah, okay. And then you can go further. Like, okay, why is that like that, Olivia? Why are you so comfortable in this? Maybe somebody would say like, why do you like this? Okay, so if you grow up in kind of an environment where it is like that and you learn to survive, then you feel comfortable in this. And for me, like Mother Nature, or somebody said mother, and this like, oh, bathing in mud, it's for me like, I'm not there. I hope I will be there at some point. But right now, for me, it's the desert. Yeah? So it brings up a lot of things if you go deeper and deeper and deeper. And this kind of earth, maybe it's this stability, it's this like, as you said, it's this anchor, it doesn't change, at least not that much in the time that we are being. Whereas in the other kind of earth, like in the forest now, like with the seasons, it's like, every year, like everything dies and now everything comes up, and like it's so graspable, this change and everything. Yeah. So maybe that about earth. Then we have the water. What comes to mind? Life, freedom. Mm-hmm. Say that again? Currents. Mm-hmm. Emotions. Mm-hmm.
Wisdom.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Movement. Mm-hmm.
Calmness.
Mm-hmm.
Fourth.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Eternity.
Mm-hmm.
Abundance.
Mm-hmm.
Cleanse.
Mm-hmm.
Fun.
Fun. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so for the water also we have those different kind of waters. Right here we see the sea, which also like it can be super windy, super wild, and one day it can be like super flat and like calm in another day. It's the salt water. It's also considered the mother of things. And the sea, the interesting thing is it has arrived. The sea is at a place, and in combination or in an interplay with the cosmic world, it's moving, like the ebb and flood, thank you. It's like in a movement, but it's there, it arrived. When we compare it to a river, the sweet water, the river is flowing, right? It's the flow of life, this energy that moves through. It's also like you say, just go with the flow of life. And the specific thing about it is also like you don't know what's happening. The water that's passing here, it has no idea what will come, like if it will go like right or left later. It also doesn't care at this moment, okay? It just goes with the flow for real. Yeah, so it's really this. And also in this water you can see yourself, you can see a reflection, be it a lake, for example, or also like if the river is more still. I think there are also stories like from former times where people, also biblical stories, where you would see yourself or other things like reflection. It's about, seeing that. Yeah, so those are the qualities of water. Emotions, yes. And also like if you go according to Jung, it's like the collective unconscious. So like everything out there. Yeah. Okay, and then we have the fourth element, air.
Breath.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. The breath that connects us all. Mm-hmm. It's mm-hmm.
Intellect.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Storm.
Space.
Mm-hmm.
Ideas, concepts.
Mm-hmm.
So mental space.
Yeah. Perfect. Yes. So basically, the element of air, as you said, the breath, like air is probably the most widespread element. Like there is no German air or something. Like the air moves around, and also this air that we are breathing, like everything that in this world that is breathing the same air. And also our ancestors, they have breathed this air. So it's like it's there since a long, long time, which also counts for the other elements. But there it's really like, really strong, I find. And also sound, because of air, because there is this substance, like sound can travel. And then as you said, also like the intellect, the thoughts and all those things, they're also, yes, connected with air. And if you think of a person like that's very airy, they might be very much in their heads. And now we're going again to this picture, or this big picture, or why I'm working with the four elements. Ideally, or when I'm working with them in my therapy, I want to create some kind of balance. Like we will probably never be in balance, or like for some time, and then it shifts again. Like it's always a second of that we're looking at. It's the right now moment. It would be too easy if you could just say like, okay, now we solved it, now we're in balance, perfect, let's stop here. But so, of course, earth and air, yeah, they're opposites. And somebody that's like, also in German we say Luftschlösser bauen, ein Luftikus, okay? So somebody that's very, you know? No. It's like very much up there, like thoughts, ideas, a lot of things, and then to ask yourself, okay, how is it with this person for grounding, yeah? And most of us, like mostly, we do need a little bit more grounding. Sometimes there can be people that are maybe too grounded and they need some lightness, I think nobody said that yet. So it's always this idea, also fire, water are the other axes, the other opposites. Yeah, just maybe as an invitation, go with those thoughts a bit further and see like, okay, like which elements are close to me, which feel as my helpers, my friends, which are like, oh, no, or I can't really relate to them, or I don't have any thoughts about them really. And then you